Share a wallet kuma. And one say, would you say, umbeso discover Cocrana, and they answer say, question. And Urea, Sikabio Hobia. Send the Google tap said wallet to the soul. A brown person used to be a wild deer at the home. Maswafe, Abuame, and one didn't do my tap send. And more really said wallets.
Buy an interest-free home and pay within 36 months. Yes, Daimler Homes' new gold standard development, Hilton Court, has just commenced, and you can own a unit now and pay within 36 months without any interest. Starting at 95,000, you can own an elegant apartment. And guess what? Discounts are available from now till end of May. To learn more, visit our website at daimlerhomesgh.com or call us on 0200 584 558. Daimler Homes, the elegance of living.
Waterhouse Gardens is one of the most exciting projects Manchester has ever seen. Located in the M3
lawyer and you mean so lawyer wisdom akaho ababeken ho on OT Media TV and inti sabre yenche yede lawyer ebebro na afe yahwe ene ensemo a ye bedi ho enkomo last week on my OT ase unyane ntie se Army recruitment 2024 koso na se ye Ghana for ye Commonwealth ehun edie unue bi e Ghana he qualifies to make an application ekwan ben eso enobetimi afa na waye application na ono nso se eba se otimi qualify during the application process na watimi ebeba for assessment ehun kwan ni nyina no ene lawyer ababekan ho a woni yen eba betwetwe ehun enkomo ene intimi nche mamehwe mamemfa advert baku inkwem eno na chino me the lawyer wisdom akaho e de bebro producer yemfa ad baku inkwem
observation is set we play back of last of NTB lawyer solicitors.
Join me this and every Friday on OT TV from 8 to 9 p.m. for all your UK immigration matters. I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Yo, Sabra Minuka said, lawyer wisdom akaho from Wise Smart Solicitors, Ababekenza. Lawyer, Yamuajo Muakwaba, and then you may adoba Jumadiso. Producer and Pacho Cheke, lawyer feeding no mami, or Casaba maintaining Kawahanamo. Lawyer, Bacho, I can see, sir, yeah, or we be on, and Bacho Casana.
Since 2023, it puts you in a very difficult position. And Timeka says, oh, 2.5 years, Nivea, please set a reminder. Please set a reminder every 3 months, every month in book. There are certain things that I have to do next 3 years. I have set reminders. Every month it reminds me. Because and a lot of things are competing for your space, your brain space. So please set a reminder. Don't let your visa expire. Don't let your leave expire. If it expires, you go back and start the 10 years all over again. You don't want to do that. You don't want to waste 2.5 years. You don't want to waste 5 years before you go back to another 2.5 years until 10 years. Yes, Remo. This is just for your information. So, and then last week, Michelle Boss said, Nakasa about the UK Army, the recruitment process now. Now I say how to go about it. Now, so see America say here, there is no recruitment going on. And now America say there's no recruitment going on. So the UK Army is currently not recruiting or accepting any recruits from any Commonwealth country. The recruitment is closed. As of today, I'm speaking. But in 10 days' time, and then the 9th, in 10 days' time, which is the 19th of August 2024, they are going to open the options. In 10 days' time, on the Bitcoin for some recruitment process to start across board for Commonwealth countries. So don't do it today, don't do it tomorrow. Wait until the 19th of August before you put in an application for to come as a soldier. Now, it's going to go through a process or through some steps. It's called from the 19th of August, the Army is accepting applications from various sectors. One, musicians and paratroopers. Of course, they will also look at royal engineers, technicians, gasmen, engineers, and so on and so forth. So, but the major one now are musicians and paratroopers. Musicians, not more stage today. That is not more specialist skills as musicians, such as one, those who can play the trumpet very well. If you can blow the trumpet with perfection, those are the people they are looking for. Those who, so somebody is saying, of course, incommodate. David, not talking about incommodate and co. We are talking. So you must, you see, and you're playing on training, you must already have the skill. So you must already play a musical instrument to a high standard and are required to pass an audition. So you know how they do this American Got Talent and those things, you have to go and audition and things like that. You have to sing for them to check whether you pass. That is what they do. So you come for an audition, you play the musical instrument to a high standard, and you must be able to meet that standard. You must be able to, this includes contrasting two pieces. In other words, you must be able to play about two different pieces of musical instruments. If that is the case and you pass, then you may be accepted for the British Army. Interesting. Gone are the days or gone are the years. Who thinks music will be anything? Nothing, but today it's a different ball game altogether.
Yo, adafono memamo ajo emamo akwa ababiem enenso edeo eba eye OT Media TV jumedia ya tuni din se ask the lawyer ena ene uguso a uti na last week yene lawyer edwin enkomo about British Army recruitment 2024 enchebia 19th of August ya omowe bi kwan ama enuanum a omaniji ho so mpese ebeye asojafo ewo Britain ha no omonso timi application na Michelle oboso mebomodia na makope army officer baako aba na yene no atwetwe enkomo na wamaye insight say de soja djuma no etie ukowuramu ene ade nyina na wamaye enchechiremu ntino se yene lawyer kasa na lawyer kan na chese yenya a picture of how enioma etie na me brother minua penny mede no abai oye nyame enipa your friend Reverend Henry Afo Godson sabria me no kase de oye army officer kese pa Reverend enanwumre meda asese waje penny se opese oni atwetwe enkomo ewo dwumadie so senka ubetimi aba video amaya kamani beje pa na afi yabo enkomo kakra na enuanum nso ahu se yeka British Army dwumadie na se de etie Reverend Pacho Otiminka.
I can hear you.
Nice one. Is it okay for you to come on video? Your video.
Yes, please. Let me.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
I can.
Fantastic. Very, very good evening. But your phone call fem kakrentino position yet said your first net na eka ebeboa ama dwumadi na kama pa. Reverend Henry Afogotson.
Okay, I think I can.
Rev, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you? Yeah, I can hear you, but it looks like the line keeps breaking up.
A little bit, yes, but we will try and manage it. Is that okay?
Okay.
Nice
yes,
one.
I can hear you.
Nice one. Yo, Rev, I mean, media penny, not just a Reverend na minim. And you just Reverend na UK ha watch that there school akesi mu a. Na mi hu ye say Reverend eshe military atade. Now I wasn't sure whether you're soldier and also that's so a software teacher. Rev, I mean, give me a big history about the transition from teaching to a year army officer. Say, talk to me.
Okay, thank you very much. I will use this medium to say a big thank you to you and your production team for inviting us to join this session this afternoon. I also like to extend our greetings to all our viewers and all our listeners from whichever part of the world you're joining us from. Myself and your presenter or chief host, we've been very good brothers and friends dating so many years. And as you said, I am a man of many colors, or coat of many colors, by the kind grace of God, and we try to make very full proof of our ministry.
I was for Monvan Chairman ne line no a breaky kakra, but I will do my possible best. Yebetimi no adwetwe enkomo. Ebia na uwo nuebi adamfobi. A ono sunadi ebeje ho se obetimi adjoin eye British Army. Said the lawyer my nyan ntie last week. I can hear you now. Your line went off a little bit.
Okay, so sorry about that. I'm currently not in the UK, so sometimes I do get that. But you can hear me now.
Yes, it's clear now.
Okay, so let me just go ahead. So I was just saying earlier on that by God's grace, I am a man of many colors. By God's grace, we try to make full proof of our ministry and the giftings that God has given to us. So as far as the army is concerned, yes, as you rightly said, I'm someone by the grace of God who has been in ministry all these years. And I'm in ministry. So we still have churches that we oversee by the kind grace of God. But I'm also someone who works. So I'm not full-time pastor. But as you know me, Nanake, I've always worked. Either as a teacher, I write books, I do my worship album, my music. So you know me. So as far as the army is concerned, it's been something that has been a part of me. I've served in various bits in various military interests, but yeah, it's something that at this point I decided to go for it and make it a bit more professional, full-time in terms of the UK, whilst the UK is concerned. So the opportunities that sometimes people don't know about. So what I'm doing at the moment, by the kind grace of God, I am an army of. So in the British Army, I'm serving not just as an officer, but also as a chaplain. So that's a padre. They call us padre in the British Army. So the rank of a captain, which is an officer. So some of you probably will know this, some of you might not know, but the army has two strands, or the military, if I should put it this way, has two strands. You have the soldiers and you have the officers. So if you take it into any, let's say into a hospital setting, you have the doctors and you have the nurses. So the soldiers will be your nurses, the doctors will be your officers. So something like that. You have management and maybe the workers, as you might put it. So officers are very high-ranking officials who look after the soldiers or who manage the soldiers. I think I've said that in precedence. So as far as my process was concerned, I first trained as a soldier. So I went through the basic training, what we call basic training. So I did basic training as a soldier, which was good because it allows you to understand the soldiers that you're going to be leading. And then for my officer training, I had to, again, also go to a process. So let me just break it down so we can all... Can you all hear me fine?
Yes, we can hear you. My main ebusian for happy no more joining and then say last week ye lawyer wisdom kasa about army British Army Recruitment 2024. Just say ebeba so and amejidi say ye mu binom anase ye nuanom mu bia ni beje ho say omo enso ebetimi ajoin British Army. Eno enenei yakwakofa officer Reverend Henry Afogosin Aba Yeneno Etchin Komo about how Enioma etie when it comes to the British Army. Rev, but you'll be to me at us.
Thank you so much. So as far as the British Army is concerned, I was saying there's two strands. So you have the soldiers and you have the officers. Erna Edimu name the difference between them. So sometimes who have been to me quite an officer, maybe I'll apply for a soldier. So you have to always understand what you're applying for. If you want to be a soldier, you can just go ahead and apply to be a soldier. If you want to be an officer as well, the processes are different. I went through as a soldier and then also as an officer. So those are the two. Soldiers, you have to do your initial assessment. So the initial assessment, they'll have to do a medical. That's one of the basic ones. If you are in the UK already, usually they'll ask you to submit certain information from your GP. So your GP medical history will be submitted to them. So then we'll look at the medical history. At the moment, what is causing a lot of people not to be able to get in is the medical aspect of it. So if you have issues in your medical, let's say you have a back issue or anything that the Army flags up, it might either cause you not to be selected or it might delay your application if you want to appeal. So that's that one. The medical is done for both soldiers and officers, so you know that. Once you've done the medical aspect of it and you've sent it through to the Army recruitment team, they will then schedule you for what we call the initial assessment. So let me start with the soldier one, okay, and then I'll come with the officers so that we don't confuse them. So with the soldiers, you go for your initial assessment. Usually it's in Pembrite, or depending on which part of the world you are. So Pembrite is somewhere in Surrey, if my geography is right in that way. Not too far off the M25. You go, you do your initial Army assessment. They check, they do some exercises, check to make sure that you're right fit for the Army. The Army is also the right fit for you. And then you do some physical activities. So like what we call the bleep test. So the bleep test, you have to run up and down, up and down, up and down, depending on your cap badge. So the cap badge is what trade, or if I should, just to make it easier, trade you're going into. So somebody might want to go into as an infantry or soldier, or somebody might go as a signal soldier, somebody might go in as a REMI, which is the Royal Army Electrical Mechanical Engineer, somebody might go as an engineer. So if you're going to go as an infantry, usually the requirement academically is not so much, but the physical requirement might be high. So for example, the bleep test for an infantry soldier, they might expect you to be able to run up to a level, let's say 11.5 or 11.6 or something like that. When somebody is a signals soldier, you might be required to run, let's say 6.6, but you have to be sure that they will also do some assessment with literacy, numeracy, so maths and English. You do those assessments because that also requires a higher level of intellectual capability. You've gone through assessment, you've passed, then they will schedule you for your basic training. If you're doing a regular service, basic training might be, depending on your cap badge, might be maybe about 14 weeks. Sometimes they even want to cut it down. So 14 weeks intense, rigorous training, after which you finish your basic training and then you go on to do your trade training. So for example, if you are joining as a logistics soldier, you might want to go and do a bit of supplies, a bit of truck driving. If you're joining as a signaler, you might want to go and do work on radios. So these are all trade specific. If you're joining as an infantry, usually they go to Cadet, where you do your infantry trade training to become a properly traded soldier. So that is for the soldiers. If you look on the Army website, you will see the different, I think somebody's asking a question about the income. So you see the different incomes and everything on there. On the average, for a soldier, you might be looking at somewhere in the region of 20-something thousand and all of that. Okay. The highest paid is probably officer dentist. And these are something that some of us also don't know, and it's good. I mean, I didn't know until I really got into the Army. So those of us, if you have a child who wants to be a doctor, a medical doctor, and the child has an interest in the Army, it's a great thing to point your child towards the Army, because the Army, they can go for the Army officer selection. So let me also talk about the officer side, and then I will chip in the doctor side. So let me just make it quick for you. So with the officers, you also go through assessment, you do your medical, fill the forms and everything, and then you go for what we call the Army Officer Selection Board, but it's briefing. That is 3 days. You'll be at Westbury and you will do a lot of assessment. So physical assessment, obstacle course, sometimes you do what we call the command task, the leaderless task. You do an interview, you do a lecturette, you do what we call the planning exercise. And these are very rigorous assessments. There are books that you can read. There are YouTube videos you can watch. You have to be prepared. Else, unfortunately, it's very, very difficult to get through. So that's 3 days. If you pass the briefing, there are categories, 4 categories. Usually they do like A, B, C, D or something like that. When you pass, let's say you're within A category, A and B, they give a day to come for what we call the Officer Selection Board, main board. So you go through main board as well, another 3 days or 4 days. And then you will, if you are selected, you are then selected to go to Sandhurst, the Royal Army, the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, which is, again, is in Camberley in Surrey, which is a very elitist, prestigious institution for officers. So for any officer like myself, you have to do Sandhurst. Ghana and other nations will bring their best cadets, their top cadets to train at Sandhurst. So sometimes when you hear, only Ghana penifoni be breakasa, no, so you know, penimposi, because Sandhurst, it's a big thing. You know, when you hear them talking about Sandhurst, it's huge. I mean, it's massive to be on your CV. So you go through the process, then you can now become an officer. You go to Sandhurst. If you're doing the normal regular course, it can take you 44 weeks. 44 weeks. Okay, so almost a year to be trained as an officer, and it's very expensive training. I went in as what we call the professionally qualified officer, which again, sometimes people don't know. So when we talk about professionally qualified officer, you're looking at people like doctors, people like dentists, people like lawyers, people like ministers, pastors, okay, if you should put it that way. But I mean, sometimes, you know, in our charismatic circles, unfortunately, everybody is a pastor. You haven't been ordained. They can't even verify where you're training and all of that. No, they need to make sure that you are properly ordained and verified. Okay, so I had to join a denomination for them to check through my credentials. It took me a process of 2 years to go through that process. I will talk about that separately. But I was talking about a doctor. So you've got a child who is in medical school, who wants to be a doctor, and they are also interested in the Army. The Army will pay you, I think right from 3rd year. When you join the Army, you go through the assessment, everything. You can do that from the age of 18. So the Army will even pay your medical school fees, which means that your child can finish, or if you are a young person listening to me, you can finish university without any bills or any student loan debt, which is good. They give you bursaries and everything. So at the moment, the doctors, a lot of them, the starting pay for the doctors is 60,000 plus. 60,000 plus to start. Dentists are probably the highest pay that I've seen, 70,000. The army pays a dentist 70,000 pounds your annual pay. So imagine if you can get in, you finish your training, you already have a job, 70,000, you go to Sandhurst, easy peasy. And then with the professionally qualified officers, our training is usually about 12 weeks or 9 weeks thereabout, depending. That is in Sandhurst. You don't have to do 44 weeks, so which is good. So far so good. These are the two strands. I think I've just mentioned that briefly. So if you want to have any questions directed at myself, I will be able to answer. So I don't end up talking too much.
Thank you very much, Reverend. What when it comes to a soldier, an officer, recruitment routes edi ebekomu na mati bibi power troopers and no military mu omo ne for power troopers.
Yeah, so power troopers again it's another branch or what we call cabbage. So in the UK we use what we call cabbage. That is in its basic terms, it has a what unit or what trade. Okay. RLC is the Royal Logistics Corps. I'm going to share logistics aspect, supply, a lot of the time they deal with the driving aspect in India, because if the army is fighting, they need to make sure that they have supplies and all of that. Logistics will take up that. You have the army signals, also a cap badge. So army signals, they have to make sure that the radio equipment, everything is connected so that there's communication. Paratroopers are also one aspect of it. So the Paris, we call Colchester, they have the Paris there, and it's a very big unit. So Paris, if let's say the army is going to do an operation somewhere, you need people to jump from different heights, from a helicopter to be able to land. Like you saw on D-Day landing, Paris will be doing that. So they have to do in Ghana we call them the Army Airborne. They are based in Tamale. So in the UK they call them the Paris. So that's pretty much the difference. But I want to stress on the fact that sometimes, especially, and I'm trying to speak on two fronts. So you may have people you connect with or Ghana person joining. That is different. And then a Chroma person joining. That is different. So some of the specific areas now, they want you to be a citizen before you can join. So you need to check the eligibility criteria. Some of them too is open for the Commonwealth. So like I think Lawyer did mention that the ones that have been open for Commonwealth quite recently, specific trade areas like musicians, any other specific areas that they are looking out for. In Tiabanisana, you just have to again check your eligibility, make sure that you're properly skilled and trained, you have the certification to back it. So even those people, I said, people say, brass band, but Bruni might ask you, what school did you go? And then you might have to add that certificate to back it up. It is a Sebi Usia Brown coming a chair by the wayside, and I will bother to say why crana. It's good just to when you course be crowd baby crana I can just to get a certificate to show say baby and you call verify where you got it from. But it's nice to get some certification for that, and I think it's very, very important. I still mention that. Somebody's asking about age limit. So age limit, so different cap badges and different kind of saying whether it's a soldier or an officer will require different things. Interestingly, so for my role, which is an army chaplain, son of the rank of a captain, because I'm a professionally qualified officer, I've also got a PhD. So they look at all these things and they want people who are experienced. So the age limit has been raised even to 50 years. And sometimes people don't know this. The army is still looking for people who are going to be chaplains. As of for we are the only people in the army who don't hold weapons. But because I already trained as a soldier, so I had to train with weapons and then put the weapons down to become an army pastor. So I may soldier for Asofo. I am the pastor to the soldiers. We also deploy. You also will go out into very dangerous areas if the army or your unit is deploying. Just that you don't have a weapon, you have to rely on your men to be able to do the fighting to protect you, and you're sort of their moral compass, and you give them that spiritual support. Okay. Doctors near the end, so no, age in also because they know that you have to go to school for so long, train for so long before you join. They are not age, you know, and I was showing the 40s near there. They are still taking that. But to start off as a soldier, no, they can even take up to 16 years. They find as early as 15 years. Sorry, 16 years. So, or Columbia with 16, UK no officer called Johnny Amia. They start off at Harrogate in North England. You can be there 16 years. They train you. The training is much longer. And by your 18th or 17th birthday, thereabout, you know, 17 or 18th birthday, you sign your contract. You are paid as a full-time soldier. And the opportunities there. Some people start off as soldiers, and later they grow up, they mature, they are good at what they do, and academically astute, and they become officers. So, as I've said, the other ranks, if I have to go through very quickly for you, I'll just use the army ranks. So you might start off as a private, but different car badges might have different things. So a signals might call signaler. You might have a gunner with a friend is saying, with the artillery phone there, might say gunner, you know, but then you start off as a private, then you become a lance corporal, a staff sergeant, other car badges might call color sergeants, but yeah, you have a staff sergeant, then you become a warrant officer class 2, warrant officer class 1, in that order. For the officer side, usually they start off as second lieutenant. So second, and this is the army. This is not general military. So if you come to the Air Force, I can give you the Navy and the Air Force equivalent. But just to quickly, if you come to the army officers, you have the second lieutenant, the captain, the major, lieutenant colonel. You go through brigadier, major general, lieutenant general, and then field marshal, which we hardly do have. So these are the rank systems. So anyone who is an officer already is a commissioned officer who sits above all the other ranks. So that's where they take salute. So when you see somebody saluting, they salute the officers. Other ranks, you don't salute them. All right. If somebody's a warrant officer, that's a non-commissioned officer. They may brace up for them, but they may be called sir, but they don't take salute. And an officer will take a salute on behalf of the king or queen, or if you are in the US or in Ghana, on behalf of the president or the head of state. So that's how it works out. Any other? I think I've made this very clear, right? So just to encourage people, there are roles out there that sometimes people don't know. Even with what I just thought about the chaplains, people didn't even know this. But there are specific churches and there are specific requirements they want. And they want to see that you are not just saying that because I'm called, I'm going to serve in the army as a chaplain, but you have the certificate to back it up. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Abusuafo Afi and I'm joining Yene Captain Reverend Captain Henry Afogosin and yenino Ejutri and Gobo and Nenumre when it comes to the British Army. Yanyan in TSA NGBR by the 19th of August, Busumi Mwa, the British Army, be quite ama, Nyanoma Opesomo joining, and so depending on the role they are looking for, no, or more etimi apply no so I join it. Even se onipano ewo any Commonwealth country cry onipano bit me apply na wababe trainees or pass ya then wetimi I join no and yene captain etwetwe ho enkomoni ahwede ne ekoso ewo British Army mu. Rev mami busa me last question na me my audience no ho kwan na so ewo question bi ansa na mejawo ama wako. Ya na mpembe bre yete army training na yenum be boyehu enti yepese ekokora yenko chire mu kakra say na training no etie.
I won't lie to you. So because the training here is easier, they will be deceiving you. The training is not easy, but it is doable. Let me put it this way. It's not easy, but it is manageable. You have to be very disciplined. Indeed, anybody who is thinking of joining the army, like I said, the good thing is, as you find out, let me also mention that there are also what we call the reserve soldiers and the reserve officers. So you don't have to do the army full time. And also you're very good. You can be a team or a nurse. Now we're fit. And you can join the reserves. You can join the reserves. It gives you an extra experience on your CV, and it also opens its own doors. So you can be a reserve soldier or reserve officer, okay? Which is also very, very.
If I may ask, who is a reserve officer or a reserve soldier?
Very good. You know, say you're UK, no. Reserve for there, you can't do Commonwealth. You have to be a UK citizen to be able to join, or probably haven't lived in the UK for some time. There'll be teams where you still under, let's say, 45 or thereabout, and you feel, say, oh, I can do this soldier thing, or I want to add it as an experience. I will encourage you to do it. So reserve, the soldiers or the officers or the branch of the military, Air Force has them, Army has them, Navy has them. So the reserve side of things, are people who usually will be the backup, okay, to the main military. That's the backup. So in the past, they used to call them the Territorial Army. In the past. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah? They used to call the Territorial Army. And,
yeah.
Most times, the things that happen mainland security, most of the time might be dealt by the reserve army or the reserve personnel. Okay, so in the past, the reserves, when they have been flat and you see the army on the street, at times it's not the regular army, it's the reserve army. When you've seen people doing things like what do you call it? London Olympics,
establishing hospitals.
Exactly, all those stuff. And most of them, that's a lot of the in UK stuff, the homeland stuff. Most of the time, yes, most of the time, the homeland security, but they also deploy. Until we are reserve is maybe we are nest. Now we are reserve. You can join as an army. You can say army medical corps. Just say. The army also train you as a more or less as a paramedic in a way. Okay, so if you have 6 months, when you're 6 months leave, you can go outside and then maybe deploy with the army. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, deploy with the army to maybe Falklands, or at the moment the army is deploying to places. If they are Estonia near, they're there. You might just go deploy with them and then come back. Home as well, you can also be doing your exercise with them. They meet mostly every Tuesday evening, or almost every other weekend. There's something going on. So if you have time, you can go with them. So let me come back to the training. So with the training, if you're a reservist, the training is usually crushed. So the time, if what the regulars would have taken 14 weeks to do, they might crush it into let's say an 8-week training, and it's very condensed. So you go 2 weeks. Now it's like 2 weeks. So somebody's 6 weeks might be crushed into 2 weeks for you, and it's very tough. You need to go in very fit, but also very resilient physically and mentally, because you'll be deploying in the field. Times you might be in the field for 5 days. With that in RIM, 5 days. What about tent? You dig your what do you call it? You dig shell sprays. Not obobo peg, not what them. I mean, I wish I could show you some pictures. And at times you go in as well. The weather is very, 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 very cold. So I've done exercises in December where the weather is very cold, and sometimes you might come back with if you don't protect yourself very well in the field, with frostbite and all of that. So it can be very difficult, and that's where people sometimes fall short. You also have to do a lot of exercises in terms of carrying a lot of weight on your back, in terms of being able to climb like different terrains and run. So the more fitter you are, the more the training becomes easier. And sometimes people are fit, and you've got to be very resilient to say that, look, I won't give up. Because we have what we call tabbing. So tabbing, you put your began, that's the weight that the army people carry on their back. And you have to walk for 4,000 kilometers, for example, non-stop with that weight. Sometimes weight can go up to, let's say, 30 kilos, depending on your cap badge and depending on the type of training you're doing. You may go, people might even carry more than that, on their back, and you walk for 4,000 kilometers, and then you have to be able to do a 2K run, a 2-kilometer run, where 2,000 kilometers. You have to do that. You have to do that run, and which you can imagine with some weight on your back, with your weapon and everything. And sometimes people find it very difficult. But once you've done the training and you pass out, it's one of the most fulfilling things you could ever do with yourself, because you come out very resilient, very top, very disciplined. And you know that, look, you feel very confident about facing certain challenges ahead in life. Yeah.
Yo, Abusiafo Sabre said in my unyanentiano, Yene Reverend Captain Henry Afugosin and Yeneno Edriching and Como when it comes to the British Army. So what question be now was Zoom no so ubit me ama on saso na mafao na Reverend Eyano ama enchechirimu ansa na mejano ama no akọ ene edey dientia me de Reverend ebae no last week yedi nkomo efa eye the British Army Recruitment 2024 na yepesi hu in details their ekoso when it comes to the British Army and their recruitment training and all that. Intino Sabre akonya ewo hono wo question bi na ebia wani so je ho se obetimi aboa unua bi no no so application no ebi figana no waba be join ya any reverend or has obeboy enchirichire bu ni obetimi bia obeye ede amaye yemfa Matt.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Before we pick the hands up, let me just quickly also add that there are certain benefits, again, about the doctors in India, and I just want to say this so that people know that these benefits exist, not just for the Commonwealth, but you can start them off with a cadet, and it helps. They are not on your Duke of Edinburgh, to say, you better not computer society, be an screen. So let's get the kids out, let them explore, get them out into the cadet to do stuff. And if they find a role interesting, they might navigate towards that side. And the Army also provides you, pay your rank, provide you with a house. So if you're full-time, you get a house. It's one of the few jobs in the UK that you'll be now a dime. They also pay your pensions, full pension. So most of the time, half now employer also top up to pay that pension. But the Army pays everything. So if it is £500 pension, Army will pay for you. You don't have to pay $250, and then your Army also pays $250. So these are some of the benefits that comes with it. The healthcare is also good, free dentist. Your family, if you're in the base, your family can use the facilities, the gym and all of that. Sometimes £1 per year or £1 per month. It's ridiculously quite good. So there are benefits that comes with it as well. Yeah. Over to you, Mr. Host, so you can take the...
Yo, and yenko Zoom no so na yenfa few questions and sani jawa mwako. Yenfa Marty Opoku. Marty, bacho yetio. Hello, Marty.
Hello, Nana.
Yes, sir. I feel near Tonka. Bacho yetio. Matthew and two on count.
Oh.
Hello, Matthew.
Yeah, Nana.
I feel the Tonka.
But
Emsa baby, I want no enye intinu jinaye na yemfo before from na waba actually yemko bright one bright.
Fine bench na.
Matthew online in intinu mpacho check internet no na brebi bright mpacho yetio.
Yo, mpacho timenka.
Yeah, bright mitonka.
Yo, my question is me anka me pese me apply bi na me pese oboa me ana so what do I see me say ebia me go for ebia for army and as officer na they to so bi o say me go into ebia army na say me successful and no make my rise to become officer na timbe so oboa me sir.
Okay, can I answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as I said before, let me just make it very clear. So, people use army and military, interchangeably. They use it in various terms. So, you come military now. The military is made up of usually the army, the navy, and the air force. So, those of us from Ghana, it's army, navy, air force, because in order of seniority of the services, the army comes first. In the British realm is different. The Britain in the UK, the Navy is the senior most service. The Navy is the senior most service. I think they started in the 15th century or something like that. Navy has been here for so many years. Then the Army and then the Air Force. So the Air Force is baby child. So even though we are talking about the Army, you can also maybe an Air Force now part. You can also search about Air Force. You can also search about the Navy. Okay, and then of course the Army, because the Army is a bit more popular in the face, and the people really talk Army. When you talk about Navy, Army, or Air Force, I said that there are two strands. They have the officers and the soldiers. So Air Force will say they are airmen. Okay, the Navy will say ratings. That is the other rank, or Army will say soldiers. That is the other rank. Like I said, the other rank starts from private, that is in the Army, start from private to warrant officer class 1. Ghana for the senior warrant officer, near the council here. And now, when you come to the Navy, it starts from what we call ordinary seaman to chief petty officer. And then airman or LAC, that is a leading aircraft, to again, warrant officer class 1. So we get that. All right. So if you want to join as a soldier, yes, you can join as a soldier and then later convert to officer, not the other way around. You can start as a soldier and convert to officer. Your CO, that is your commanding officer, will have to recommend you. They have to say, your officer material, then they push you through. What I saw, they said most of us, especially back in the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of people coming from Ghana now, who are a graduate from UCC, graduate from Legon Tech, solid qualification, but if when bisa and I say no only biana and krat until bayana or soldier. Maybe some of these guys were good enough to become officer material. Now some of them are realizing that. So if you want to do that now, just so that you know that it's what we call the officer corps and the soldier side of things. So I think I've established that. So back to your question then, yes, you can apply as a soldier. You can also apply as an officer, but you need to look at the criteria. I've just put in the link, the Zoom link, I've just put down the Army link. All the questions and answers, you'll find it there. And maybe if later you are not sure, when you get in touch with the host, I should be able to probably point to the right places. I won't know it all, but at least I will tell you that even when people are saying stuff, webinar, videos here, they're talking about recruitment here and there. The Army official website is even the best place to start from. You will realize that the information is there, black and white, where connection be so that you can get information for yourself. And if you still need further explanation, you contact maybe one of us. We should be able to point you in the right direction. I hope that question is answered.
Bright, we there wasumwa enti bomodiana enemy yankasa said yeah menya nti say when it comes to this year's recruitment and recommendation eboa enti une captain ekasa obehwe kwan obefa so obetimi ama recommendation na uzo etimi join yeah amino be that's Bright yenko Diana honom Diana mbacho obetimi abusa question yetio
yo me that's it. Me pacho me so me question is say bia me wo ba oko Duke of Edinburgh course na bia we time o mo nwie na bia na 6 form oba be ko university but our interest wo amenimu na bia no so no na ni trim points o pese o ye medicine me pacho so ura amenimu we Duke of Edinburgh no how many years no be serve amina sana watimi akwakoye ne course na o medicine mu no me that's.
Okay, so as I said before, somebody might go university or qualified doctor or practice, then want to join the army. That is there. But Sisiana, you say, okay, akwala near bright enough or go medical school. Student tuition fee near the But what you can do is that or do university now. Obetumi join what we call the University Officer Training Corps, UOTC. And also so we can also give you information about that. They prepare you for the officer selection process or procedure. So a lot of the time when people go to the Army Officer, the University Officer Training Corps now, when they come for Westbury, what I went through to be selected as an officer, they come and say, these people are very much on point. Or Kasawun's officer material. I did be saying because we're fat processing him. So they can join that. And so you join these things, and the Chrome Anderson is so good. The cadets, even what the cadets do in some countries, their regular soldiers don't even get the chance. Because cadets in Kuala Lumpur, and they still give them the weapons, the same weapons that the soldiers and officers will hold in a regular or reserve army. That's the same weapons these kids also use. On the core range, maybe be a field craft, everything. They will do the same thing. So it gives them a taster of real army life, whether they want it or not. So when the child goes through that and then later decides, when they are, I think, in third year, they can apply to join the army. So when they go for the process and they are selected, at that point, the army takes over their education and start paying their tuition fees and giving them bursary. The debia na kwala university sika ewo ne ho. Nti owie na akwaye ne army officer training no. Owie, then I think there's a 2-year housemanship they have to do or something like that. Owie na okoye wie ape. Then that's it. Then they have to serve for a specific number of time. I have to be very honest with you. I will not know for every cap badge because each cap badge might be different. May say we have to serve for 3 years. That's my I can't say my initial way. You can do 3 years to 6 years as a contract before you can come out. So it's 6 years, but then after 3 years, first 3 years, you can't come out. Then after 6 years, you might want to come out. So people have different things. Soldiers might be different depending on their level of training and the investment that the army has made in you. Duke of Edinburgh is a different thing. Duke of Edinburgh, we do it in the schools most of the time. It gives you a flavor for all the stuff army in terms of map reading, navigation side of things, in terms of things like living out in the field, setting up your tent, cooking your own food in the field. So, on board tent that like me, the first night I slept outside in the field was when I was doing my army training, and it was a bit strange because that because one of them rooms are called tent, called camp, not on any bush and food to quite near Quaha. But fox, to me, Dana Fox and I'm around, but why some way. But these are some of the things that I'm talking about. It's about giving them exposure to many things so that by the time they decide to join the army, it is not strange or new to them. I hope that helps.
Yo, better say, Yemfa Kwabena Brakon. Kwabena, Bacho Yetio Sabri.
Okay, me pacho me da say, me pacho me question me person be bisane say, hey, me mute na.
That be Yetio.
Me pacho me question me person be bisane say, with all application, no, almost say a 4 say then na. Utimi apply ni nyina na say you just have to choose only one to apply. And I think so. Weight in minim say the height and the weight, me pacho mo betimi ache mu kakra. Me name about which weight na omo pe na which height and so no. Say yenya.
Okay, thank you. So I've seen last question. I've seen people who look heavy, but if they at all, I'm sure those of us who are medically inclined, you can confirm that the BMI is what is important. So you have to look at the BMI, the weight and the height, equation. That is what I think they'll be looking out for. So once you have that, and it's okay by the army standards, that is fine. In in terms of the way, I don't know whether you're talking about different cabinet. Until will be a musician now. That's what people call music. I think they will select that. You can only select the area you have been trained in. Let's say if I call you or engineer and I say whatever mechanic or whatever maybe they might be looking for, but or what instrument so I won't change. Go with the one that you have certification to prove, because they will ask you where were you trained near there. So I think that's the best way to go about it. Thank you very much. At some point I have to run away, so I might take two more questions quickly. And then
Reverend, my main last question after Minjao. Main last question. Olivia, my main not Reverend wrap up my. Olivia, it's you.
Okay. Thank you. Pacho, Reverend, first let me be say, there will be a police officer. Ghana. No person apply. She have to apply as an officer. And our age limit be na one so.
Okay,
thank you.
If I call you a police, no person apply army. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know how I deal with maybe a streaming but you streaming or all social media networks and
yes, please. Engineer, now I care for what you say.
Exactly. Anyway, so some of the way I think I will let Nana know. And then he will put it out on the forum. That will be, because it's not everything that you can say here. Why?
Yeah. Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Olivia,
thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, pick it some common actually. Reverend Bacho, Yenjo last words na fe Yenja na Kodi Ujuma. Or holiday crown.
At the moment, yes, I'm not in the UK, but Nana has been a very good brother, a very good friend. Usually we have a church in Kent called Kent Worships. When we do our programs, he comes around with tap, and then he's also there. And even though I had a meeting call at the very last minute, and I've still managed to squeeze time to let him know that I love him, so I will come on and do this for him. And bless you, sir. Emeka say there are opportunities out there. I did this thing in my 40s. So my soldier training, I think I had to write a book called Soldier at 45. I did my soldier training and qualified at the age of 45. When I was doing my soldier training, one of the times, the hardest training I ever did, the youngest person on my platoon was 19 years old. At that point, I'd been married for 19 years. It was funny. The youngest person was 19. Me being the oldest was 45, but that was the number of years I've been married for. So you put the equation together. The guy is just 1 year older than my son. Sometimes you'll be doing training with your children. But for me to be able to do that training and pass off parade with an award, it shows you that it's not just flesh and blood. The grace of God is available to us, but also with your determination, you can do anything that you ascribe to do. So if it's your dream, please work at it and go for it. Especially if you're physically fit and you do stuff. And you can always build your fitness. You can start, because the Army basic standard will either be the bleep test or the 2K run. So 2K run, again, they do it in cap badges. With the Army, you will do the same. With the Air Force, they do it with your bar, you be lower mark kakra, with your bema kakra, with age, you be sure age near the amount. That is the Air Force. And I think the Navy, Army Nidia, almost say oba ne bema, same. Yinina yeko 2K na standard near the same. But your cap badge determines it. As I've said, infantry soldier, you have to be fit, because usually they are the ones on the front line of the battle. So you have to be a lot more fitter. But then also you don't need too much book long to do it. And as will be Army nurse and I say Army doctor as well, you need a lot of book knowledge until they tend to lower the physical extent of the exercise compared to an infantry soldier. So be determined. Let's go for it. Yes. You maybe say about the reference, Yes, I think what they were doing before is that before non-comfort apply direct normally, but right now what they are doing is they find somebody who is already serving in the Army and they let the person refer you. At least they know, say, or refer one. They would have at least told you what you are signing up for. Until they are very smart, it makes their job also easier. Because they said, time I be church What you say? If somebody refers to you and the person is already here, it gives them a point of reference, for them to know, say, sir, nimpa we are recommended here, then we can look at you. And then because your name is also on it, you also have to be very careful, because when you're careful, then for the wrong person so bad, and so say, and that is where the reference thing also comes in. So I hope it helps. So thank you very much, and God bless you for joining today. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yo, abusiafo enyumre Reverend Henry Afogotson ena yene no adwetwe enkomo efa Army recruitment last week yene lawyer di nkomo ena ono nso emaye enchechiremu mame san enkofa nkomo twetwe yene lawyer no enfamro ene ya me ne okase lawyer akopie mu ewo Ghana inti wentimi anjoin ene inti no mayembo nia near kind last week, na ensign and refresh na the TA from Reverend Captain Henry Afogotson. Me say ni nyina ebeboa ebeka ho ama nyame aduna se omubie recruitment process na se wunua bi ana wadamfo bi na person recommend no oboa no so join ya na wahu nia ono so okwa akoye na obi ebusa about musicians na omo ehwehwe no last week lawyer chirichiri mu se omo was specific musicians omo ehia ye ka musicians omo enim instrument bi bo say e be a trumpet ana say e be a keyboard ana say drums na omo recruitment process no omo bia omo be kire musicians omo ehwehwe say omo be fa omo eno any musicians na side no ubusa me any question bi ma mintimi ya no musician ne de ma bo me homodin kakra nyame aduma next week lawyer eba ye beto asa enkomo twitwin so with more details and the producer o hono ma fa advert baako etwemu ema me eno na chi no na o de lawyer last week nkomo na ye ne twitwin ye no e de ato aso
Canada bia no tap send abba ama kwantufuo ya so maje enya jokoma me ankodru ma send enru ye bia we die se ma me na ade kwa koma na tap send se papa so a tap send hwe se uni obi a bra person koma ni bibia UK for ya tede tap send wallet aba na wallet na aba no hwe enya wallet kuma enwa ni se wo die se umpeso discover kokora na ende ya nsese ikosu yi enumre ya sika bi oho bia send ko tap send wallet de so ebra umpeso use bia ewa odia eda ho maso ahwe aboa me enwa na mdidi ni dwuma tap send ema re say wallet.
No, this week I caught very fast for me, very, very fast for me. Already, this is the 9th of August. Then August comes to an end, and then the year is gone. Obina Kai says, "You're Baba Banuma." Just the year has come to an end. September, October, November, then December. Just not Baba Bano, not just a call. But thank God we are still here. Updates, UK updates. Now, Secretary of State and our Home Secretary recently, it said now, immigration-wise, no, I'm for target younger, barber shops and car wash bases. Who said those areas now, money kratano, amuteme juma wapante. The embezzlement catching said, wouldn't say one areas go where you can avoid it. And now, so we have more home poor, and yet we can look sharp and I'll be smart. Say, you want to say, Ukusi, ma Tokrubi now, we say, see, alarm blower, now, maybe I would and the barber shops, no. Yeah, normally, when I forgot that I won't come back at you get bored, but you go to the barber shop, you don't cook for whole, my share, boys, which are now in common. But just be on the alert, say, you don't get yourself into any problems So when so hunya, please be on the lookout. And young more a hairdresser salon and a car wash basis, no, so valeting for no, so when them say near my aim for year, please be smart, be sharp. Let me put it that way. So that is for that information. And of course, e-visa, I can want some. It's not automatic. Don't make the mistake by assuming that automatically the government or the Home Office is going to extend your leave for you. The e-visa has nothing to do with your wasitna. Wasitna no is your asitna. You have to get the application in and sana visa level. So 1 year and the visa level, the e-visa is of no use. But application now, you can always do the e-visa. So let's take note of that. So please take note of this so that you don't get yourself into difficulty. Now, this week, Michelle will be na what's now come ha. Near na me application man me 2.5 years a man. And unfortunately, the rate fee at the expire as far back as 2023. Employer normal employers up from two said why didn't he go? But employers when he said they trusted him so much, so they didn't really prompt him. They thought say by all means work for him. What sounds since 2023, year back for year. It puts you in a very difficult position. And Jamaica says, oh, 2.5 years needed. Please set a reminder. Please set a reminder every 3 months, every month in full. There are certain things that I have to do next 3 years. I have set reminders. Every month it reminds me. Because and a lot of things are competing for your space, your brain space. So please set a reminder. Don't let your visa expire. Don't let your leave expire. If it expires, you go back and start the 10 years all over again. You don't want to do that. You don't want to waste 2.5 years. You don't want to waste 5 years before you go back to another 2.5 years until 10 years. Yes, Ramo. This is just for your information. So, and then last week, Michelle Boss said Nakasa about the UK Army, the recruitment process now. Now I say how to go about it. Now, so see, America say here, there is no recruitment going on, and now America say there is no recruitment going on. So the UK Army is currently not recruiting or accepting any recruits from any Commonwealth country. The recruitment is closed. As of today, I'm speaking. But in 10 days' time, and then the 9th, in 10 days' time, which is the 19th of August 2024, they are going to open the options. So in 10 days' time, on the Bitcoin for some recruitment process to start across board for Commonwealth countries. So don't do it today, don't do it tomorrow. Wait until the 19th of August before you put in an application for to come as a soldier. Now, it's going to go through a process or through some steps. It's called from the 19th of August, the Army is accepting applications from various sectors. One, musicians and paratroopers. Of course, they will also look at royal engineers, technicians, gasmen, engineers, and so on and so forth. So, but the major one now are musicians and paratroopers. Musicians, not more stage today. That is not more specialist skills as musicians, such as one, those who can play the trumpet very well. If you can blow the trumpet with perfection, those are the people they are looking for. Those who, so somebody is saying, of course, incommodate. David is not talking about incommodate and co. We are talking. So you must, you see, and you are paying on training. You must already have the skill. So you must already play a musical instrument to a high standard, and are required to pass an audition. So you know how they do this American Got Talent and those things. You have to go and audition and things like that. You have to sing for them to check whether you pass. That is what they do. So you come for an audition. You play the musical instrument to a high standard, and you must be able to meet that standard. You must be able to, this includes contrasting two pieces. In other words, you must be able to play about two different pieces of musical instruments. If that is the case and you pass, then you may be accepted for the British Army. Interesting. Gone are the days or gone are the years. Who thinks music will be anything? Nothing, but today it's a different ball game. So, technical exercise, of course. So, we'll go through the facts that we are a good musician alone doesn't mean you go through. You must be able to pass your physical exercise, your sight, your reading, your oral perception, your hearing, and everything. Everything will be assessed before you will be deemed to be a person who has passed, or you will be eligible for the assessment or to be enlisted into the British Army. So that is it. So one for paratroopers and also for younger musicians. So let's bear that in mind. That is from the 19th of August 2024. This month, in 10 days' time, the option is going to be open. Number one, or let me say the next thing is you can join us a soldier. A soldier, what is the age? You must be at least 16 years old, a maximum of 34 years old. So 16 years or 34 years, 16 to 36, 20 years gap, 16 to 36 years old, you can join us a soldier. So that is for your information. Now this can change depending on the role you wish to play in the Army or the job specification. So even though they say 16 years, it can go beyond that. They say 36 years, it may go beyond that depending on the job specification for you. So that is as a soldier. Then if you want to join as an officer, the age is between 18 to 29. 18 to 29. As a soldier is 16 to 36. As an officer is 18 to 29. 18 to 29. Higher age limits may apply for specialists, example, doctors, nurses, and lawyers, accountants. Those people can have a higher age limit. If you join as a professional into the Army or as an officer into the Army, you may have a higher age limit to get into that. Some of us, we have passed that. So if you want us to join the Army, then you are just telling us we should go and die. Because if we even run 2 meters, then we are breathing and panting. So it's for the young people to go and join that. Now, if you want to, if you are over 30s, higher age limit may apply. Example, doctors over 30s are considered only by exception on a case-by-case basis. Contact the Army directly if you would like your case assessed due to your age. So if you are more than 30 years and you want to join the Army and you want the Army to consider your case because of the specialist skill you have, then you have to contact the Army directly. They will assess your case based on your age and they will make a determination on that. And that is where we start with that. Then to join as a reservist. So first is a soldier, then an officer, then a reservist. If you want to join as a reservist, that is minimum age of 18 years and the maximum age of 42 years. As a reservist, soldier, officer, reservist. The reservist, 18 to 42 years and 6 months. So you're almost getting to 43 years, but you have to join before your 43rd birthday. So please take note of that. Take note of that. You have to join before your 43rd birthday. And that is where you will be. It's all based on assessment. Now, there are higher age limits for specialist roles. As a reservist officer, you can join from 18 years minimum to 48 years and 9 months. So the Army has different catchment, different categories. First, it starts from 16 to 36, 18 to 29, and then from 18 to 42, then 18 to 48, 9 months, so almost 49 years. But when you cut 50 per day, and please don't waste our time. Don't even go at all, because at 50, the energy level has dropped. So don't even go and die for us. Please, we need you here. So some of us are automatically out. Now, so that is the recruitment strategy or the age limits that you can join. I've said 19th of August 2024. Now, visa application process. Now, this visa application process is purely self-funded. The army will not give you any money for you to go through the process. And your brother, your sister, your uncle, your auntie, your nephew, your niece are Omo Ghana, and they want to come and join the British Army, you can support them. You can support them financially in terms of providing your bank statement and your pay slips, because young man, 19 years, young man, 22 years, when you're university, on your juma, obey then approve or not, enough money to look after himself through the process here in the UK. That's not going to be possible. Those of us who are here and can support them financially or can support them in terms with our support, our documents, I would plead with you that if you are able to, please help them to come. Help them to come. But like I said, the process is purely self-funded. The army does not get involved in the financial things at all. They will not give you anything for your application process. And you must have enough money to sponsor yourself, your own visa application, and travel to the UK to complete the selection process and to apply for your AF visa. The army will not give you money, but you must prove that you can support them, you can help them, you can assist them to come to the UK. Now, after making a successful application, you will be invited to complete the basic training in the UK, where your fitness and health will also be assessed. So after completing a successful application, you will be invited to the UK to come for assessment. Now, and then the application, my gentleman, be fingerprint of born in Sano, same process, and take application to extend his visa for him to finish the process. And then the application, another person, a lady 2 weeks ago, and also she came with a visit visa. She went through the process. She's been successful, and the application amounted to extend her leave whilst the army is finishing with the final stages. Excellent lady. She was in the army, actually in Ghana, so it made it easier for her to come and continue with the army in the UK. She was a signaler. Very, very, very good. Very, very smart, cute and sweet lady. She's gone through everything. But she was assisted by the uncle who is here, and all the supporting documents in the supporting. Brilliant. And everything went successfully. Young application and I wanted to make the second application now for the army to finish their process. Now, what kind of application is SSOE? Well, so we have Ghana, Ghana, if you are JSS, with more than 60, and our SSS, with 18 years, 19, 20, 21, 22. Our person of a bar. Man started application process now. From the 19th, say, the portal for the recruitment on such application process. Right now, near Amino Air can say, from what we see, almost see, from the 19th of August 2024, the Army is accepting applications from musicians and paratroopers through the Recruitment Bounty Referral Scheme. Recruitment Bounty Referral Scheme. Recruitment Bounty Referral Scheme. RBRS. Now, what is the meaning of Recruitment Bounty Referral Scheme? In other words, sir, we are army officer, sir, when you be army officer, and not official, a 7 army officer in the UK. Not ultimately, I recommend the OB, Sasami paid, now recommending the Munjin into the army. That is the means of the area recruitment from the 19th of August. So you need an army officer or a 7 officer to recommend you or to encourage you to get into the army in the UK. With that, the person who recommends you will get £500. The army will pay them £500 for recommending somebody to join the British Army. So that is the recruitment bounty referral scheme. It's a way of saying thank you to the army officers or 7 officers who recommend other people. And Unia bi wɔ Ghana, ana unim will be over Ghana, unim Ghana maybe will chrome her or army officer, and not all army no more. Obetumi refer and obetumi recommend it will be unia bi o sister, o brother, o uncle, o niece, o nephew. Ma saa nipa no any recommendation no through the recruitment bounty referral scheme. And no, it adds a lot of weight to the application. So, saa nipa no recommending the army will take into account. They may give a letter. Once the person will make the application from Ghana, and say Ghana, and I saw your application from Ghana, or if Ghana, amudi letter every say I do application and to come for assessment. Nti saa army letter na amudi amana no, as I said, or the visa application process no, or the can we are now the back for the to the UK for the application to be assessed, for him to be assessed, to assess your eyes, your hearing, your sense of smell, and everything. To assess you totally. The soldiers, you have to be crystal clear in terms of health. Among pet problems, we are you see mover. You are asking, what are we doing? You see hider. I think you are saying you are raising your head to see what is no. They don't want that, so they want to be sure that you are up to scale. And see, that is where the process is. So the application should be made from Ghana through the standard visitors visa route to the British Army, the recruitment team. From the 19th, when the portal is open or when the admission process is opened, even if you don't have anybody in the army who will recommend you, as long as your application process can go through, please submit it. Just submit it. Let your brother, your sister, your uncle, your nephew, your niece, let them submit it. Hey, dear, they don't have enough people through the recommendation. If they don't have enough people through the recommendation, then obviously they will fall on the people who applied by themselves. And nothing here say, when you will be or army no more, when you will be also be recommend you, you must be able to therefore apply by yourself and put in all the evidence that you need to support your application. But say will be so already recommend you, I'm going to recommend you. Yeah, application is from Ghana. Once the army gives you the letter, add it to the visa process. But so when to me and you Ghana now with the visit visa every do go away more, you can still apply to join the army. They would assess you. Say are you successful? To me an extension of your visa while the army is finishing the process. Only a process now, then they will take over from there. So I've talked about the age, I've talked about the application process. What kind of application do you have to make? A visit visa application, standard visit visa application that SSWE. So you go online, apply for visit visa. When you apply for the visit visa, you have to add evidence to show say uba sayako. Number one, say aminama uniani letter na onfa enkaho. When here bank statement, 6 months bank statement of hana upeso di support uniano. But 6 months bank statement, 6 months pay slips enkaho. A copy of your passport enkaho. For tenancy agreement and our mortgage document enkaho. With these documents, and not home office case worker now so packed or ubia na ubia uba or bet me assure through the timer who have for the assessments now. They will look at that and then make a determination based on that. So you need your bank statements. So one person now we Juma, of course, you need your own bank statement showing that there is money in it, showing that you are working the position in which you are, and you will go back. What they want to see is, will you go back after the assessment in the event that you are not successful? Will you go back? What shows that you will go back? Do you have some work you go back to? You have to look at all of that before they determine the visa application. The fact that Aminama or letter no and yet automatic say the visa never it's not guaranteed. The case workers have their own mind, they make their own assessment. The army cannot influence that process. The army cannot and will not influence that process. In this country, everybody perform their role in accordance with the rules that are laid for them. The army will not put pressure on the Home Office to issue visas. It will not happen. But sir, sad documents or letter from the army, add it to it. I am sure it will speak volume for you. Now it goes on to say they will give you 6 months visit visa. Mercy subium, sir upapa, umame, unmia, and sponsor wa. Ma bank statements, letter and count say, young na sponsor your bay. Now, at least someone said there's some money behind you that you can use to support yourself whilst you are in the UK. Now, during this time, the need to meet all the requirements to obtain a visa, including notifying the Home Office of where you will be staying in the UK and that you have sufficient funds to support yourself for this period. The Army is not able to influence the process at all. You get a letter from the Army inviting you to attend an assessment center, which you should attach to your visa application. This will not guarantee your application process, but it is very important that you can attend to it. Your visa application is successful. If it is successful, you should cover your own basic training, at which point you will be given exemption stamp. Now, if the application and everything is successful, I'm start pursue passport exemption, which means that you can travel in and out of the UK with the Army. That is called you'll be exempt from immigration control. Bed today, tonight, the next morning they say we are going to Afghanistan. You have to be prepared to go. You can't visa. Or you are in the Army, the next morning they say we're going to Canada. You have to get ready to go. The next time we're going to Australia, the next time we're going to Russia, the next time we're going to Germany, you have to be ready to go. And because of that, you have more visa, you're exempt. You are exempt from immigration control. That is, as soon as the Army says, Jack, you are ready to go anytime and you come back upon return. So that is what it is. Now, after this, you'll be able to serve in the Army for 5 years. After 5 years, you can bring during that 5 years, your family, your wife or your husband and your children, they will all come and join you here in the UK as an Army officer here in the UK. So that is very important. Your visa, if your visa is successful, you should cover your own costs until you start your basic training, at which point you will be given exemption stamp. If you are close to your visa expiry date and you have not started basic training, you may be required to return to your country of origin and apply to come back. And sometimes, if you have 6 months, by 1 month. Now, by the time I'm assessment, assessment now. 2 options. I'm going to say apply to the Home Office to extend your visa, and I'll go back to your country for your application. Let's say back. Now, I'll prefer to do it here rather than to go to Ghana, which also call. I want to be about the one. All the training and in your own is going to waste. So that is what can happen. Now, all right. If you are accepted for service after basic training is completed, you will be exempt. So first of all is the basic training that you'll be given, exempt visa. And then after you have been fully completed, you'll be given a visa which is subject, which you are exempt from immigration control under Section 84A of the Immigration Act of 1971. Section 884, Section 8, subsection 4A of the Immigration Act 1981, which means you are in the service and you will get a vignette in your passport to show this. The exemption is ended on discharge. If you are discharged for whatever reason, either sickness or anything, or for whatever reason you are discharged, your exemption ends. But you could also apply to extend another Appendix FM rules in the UK. But so ultimately, I'm in for 5 years, then you can apply for your settlement indefinitely to remain. And your family members who are on with you would also make the same application to stay here in the UK. All right. Now, sir, a family member is in the UK with a visit visa, they cannot switch to the Army route. So they have to apply from outside to join you here as a family member of an Army officer. But if they are here with a visit visa, they cannot switch to that route. So like I said, after 5 years, you'll be able to get your stay in the UK for indefinitely. And then after 1 year, you get your British citizenship. You naturalize as a British citizen. Financial requirements. The current minimum income requirement MIR to bring a family member or family members is £23,496. 23496. 23496. That is what is required for you to bring your family members. That is so why you're successful. You've been taken into the army, full-time job now. Family bar, you need to be earning 23496. Obviously, you earn that. The army is not going to give you less than that. So you can then bring your family members to join you here in the UK. Now, the application fee for your family members will be $2,468. You have to apply for them to come to the UK. So, generally, yes, from the 19th of this month, the Army is going to open the portal for recruitment. And it is going to be through the Recruitment Bounty Referral Scheme. So, when you will be our Ghana, when you will be our UK Army, still put in the application. They may not have enough people, and then they'll fall back to by ourselves. So please go ahead, make the application, encourage them. Please support them with your bank statement, your pay slip, and everything, so they can make the application, come and join the British Army from the 19th of August this year. We don't know when the recruitment will end, but this thing, it comes and then it goes. And to say, once our banner, put in the support them with the documents that you can, so that they can also come and at least experience the life in the UK, particularly in the Army. Nana, I believe there are some questions. I'm happy to answer them. This one, on this topic or any other topic, I'm able to respond to it. Thank you, Nana.
Yo, abusiafo, we any enkomotwetwe last week yene lawyer etwetwe ye. Eno ne nam so ema mekofa the army officer enso bae na obema yenchechiremu how recruitment any enioma ekoso ewo British Army nimu. Esan say a playback of last week the any lawyer ekan yintino mintini emfa questions bia nyame aduma next week. Lawyer ba na wo any other further questions via na ode aba inti midamwase se monya bre na moati yen ahanom ena mede ubesi nyame eyaduma yebesa no ahia next week nyame nka ho no ntenanimu encheo na watwi awieye enye inshira emfa ema shene so se nyame aduma Wednesday yede eye OT Health Talk Ebro and inteni enshia UK time 8 p.m. na yeni doctors no so train enkomo any issue regarding health biano on be ya no amount na Thursday yede time with tap send at the abroad na ni Friday as the lawyer yede ato asoma meeting any nana kwame osaitu my crown
tap send oh I was my baby you're from Calabos the only boss with oneness baby I will be everywhere I day and everywhere they go tap send got me covered. If you need to send money or transfer money from Europe, from Canada, from USA, from UK, any part in Europe, you can send it through tap send, and guess what? Oceania, they will receive it right here in Ghana and many countries across Africa. So what are you waiting for? Download tap send now on Google Play Store or App Store. When you download, it's so easy to use. Tell your families, tell your loved ones to download tap send. Okay? But also, when I receive my money, the other tell the world you channel, like my view, hey, you crazy.
Download tap send now on Google Play and App Store. Tap send. It's secure, convenient, easy, and fast.
If you're looking to buy real estate right here in Ghana, you're looking to buy a property in Ghana, and you are a diaspora, and of course, one of the most important factors you also think about is your security. Then if security is your paramount, one of your paramount factors in considering whether to buy a property or not. And of course, you have to consider some of the prime neighborhoods right here in Ghana, because of course, those prime neighborhood comes with a very high level of security in terms of, your properties and life.
And those areas, of course, includes East Legon, it includes Airport, it includes Chado, it includes Adrengano, it includes Ridge, it includes Jowulu, and so many other beautiful neighborhoods. Now, those neighborhoods, trust me, they are prime and they are safe and conducive for people or environment or family looking to actually relocate back here in Ghana. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a property inside West Trosako, which is also considered as a very safe neighborhood for you to actually look at considering buying a property.
Whitewall Properties has all your property needs at amazing prices. Our unique development includes our flagship project, Arlington Court, which has a panoramic view covering several acres of a grass skyline. Some of our standard features include our gorgeous swimming pool, fitness centre and a communal garden.
Tap send. Se papa so tap send. Share. Se uni obi a bra person comment bibia, you go for ya tede. Tap send wallet aba. Na wallet na aba no. Share enye wallet kuma. Eno an se wo de se wo person disca be kokora na enne ya nsese ekosu yi. Enumre ya sika bi owo bia. Send go tap send wallet ne so. Ebra wo pese wo yusu bia ewa wo dia eda ho maso ahwe aboa me eno an didi mi dwuma tap send e ma re fi say wallet